off to an extent where we no longer have issues with intra-party politics. We want to talk about major issues that concerns Nigerians. We don't want to talk about politics alone. We want to talk about governance. And this, for me, is another distraction because for the next 2-3 weeks, they will be discussing this. And that should be something that should have gone to bed, and nobody will really care about it anymore. We should be talking about elections, not primaries.
And then I think there's still a case in court because Kachuku was on national TV, I think a few days ago, and then he said INEC is playing with their faction. The INEC has refused to upload the names of those who won in several states according to their own faction. And then we see how the David Mark-led faction. And so I was wondering, what exactly did they bring back from court? The last time that people were jubilating online, congratulations to ADC, it trended for days actually. So you begin to wonder what is going on in this country. Because I don't understand why that faction, Katiku faction, is still very adamant to say that I'm the presidential candidate and I'm going to contest, and then there's an article that was declared recently in one political party. So I see people can say all sorts of, oh, the president is trying to cause disarray or APC is trying to cause disarray. What about the ego of those who are in the party? Because how is it going to be possible now for you to actually, will INEC even allow, will INEC post any of those candidates? Will INEC allow any of those candidates to actually contest or maybe to even campaign? Because you people cannot put your house in order. And then the same thing even applies to the PDP. I read a story that, recently, speaking about Jonathan, we all know that Jonathan said he wants to contest, and then his case was taken to court to say, can he still contest, speaking about his eligibility. And I think it was cleared. It's been clear to actually contest. So we see have the PDP faction, we see have the... And
even
then
the PDP have two presidential candidates.
And that's another
One
problem.
from the Wike faction, the other from the Turaki-led faction.
Exactly. So what are we doing in this country? Because at the end of the day, and that's what I said, that whatever it is that APC is doing, for a party that went through primaries and people were sobbing online, and then people were complaining that I was rigged. Even Senator Ned Nwoko, he said they promised him straight ticket when he joined APC. And then he didn't get the straight ticket. And then you could see his face when he was actually talking about that. And he's not the only person. A lot of persons, somebody defected from APC recently because of, I think, Omagigi or something. He defected because of certain reasons like that, because he felt betrayed. But look at how composed APC was, especially for the presidential primaries. Look at how they came out en masse. I mean, we really cannot tell, but then it looked as if they were organized in a way, regardless of whatever it is that they went through during primaries. So why is it so difficult for each of the opposition parties to put certain things behind them and then align together and come together for the success of the party? It's difficult for them. I don't know. Maybe it's because they don't have that head in each of the political parties. Somebody they all listen to. Maybe that's the problem. But then it doesn't speak well, because at the end of the day, people were saying we don't want one person on the ballot. We don't want two people on the ballot. See, with what is going on now, if care is not taken, we might not have more than two persons on the ballot, or maybe three, because the parties are actually not doing the right thing in terms of putting their house in order. APC right now, they are still trying to get more people to do the right thing, mobilize people. But these ones, they are still battling with court cases, battling with two persons per political party. It doesn't make any sense, really.
You see, I do say this. Whatever APC leaders tell their party members during party meetings, it deserves to be studied at the University of Ibadan, because you really cannot tell what they actually say to them that solves all problems. All of a sudden you realize that nobody is talking about it anymore. I will cite an instance. Shortly after the gubernatorial primaries in Oyo State in the APC, there were a lot of brouhaha, chaos here and there. People were practically saying all sorts on social media. And in the space of 3 days, it all went to bed. Nobody is talking about it anymore. Even the camp of Chief Bayo Adelabu, that was actually adjudged to be the most aggrieved of them all, hasn't really said anything the last few days. So it tells you how composed the APC is as a political party, even though there is no political party in the world that you will not have internal crisis. But what mechanisms do you have in place to settle all of this when it does happen? And one of the qualities of a political party that will survive for a long time is the fact that there has to be a rallying point, a focal point, someone that calls everyone together. That is one thing the ADC does not have, because someone that should play that role is visibly contesting for the ticket, and that is Atiku Abubakar. He should be the most senior of them when it comes to political experience as an elder statesman. And definitely right now, he wants to be the presidential candidate. So he cannot fill that particular role. Look at at the APC, you have Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and aside from him, at the top, at the apex of the APC in Nigeria, you have people like Chief Olusegun Oshoba, you have Chief BC Akonde, you have elder statesmen in their states who are actually, when you get to that, if you want to talk about progressives, you would love to talk to this person,
right?
And he has them in almost all the states in Nigeria that they are more or less like his confidant. For each state, he talks to them, talk to so person to do this. I could remember when SMA Gold, Dr. Samuel Mawuyo Ajose, was trying to slug it out with KOH, Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, and he said he was called to a meeting midnight. And then when he got there, they handed him a phone. And when he picked the phone, it was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that told him, yes, I've been seeing what you've been doing, you've been making waves, but we have protocol here. You have to step down right now, and then follow the plan. When it is your time, you will be called. And he had no choice. He said it to his people. They were visibly angry, and some of them were even crying on camera. But he said, look, it is way beyond me now. I have tried my best. I have tried to, put myself in a position where I will be seen. But the leader said, this is what is right at this time. But I will be throwing my weight behind Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, who is the current deputy governor of Lagos. That for me is leadership.
And the same thing applies to even the governors in APC.
Right.
Because I remember Kubana said the governor called him and told him that it's not your time yet.
And he gave him reasons.
And he gave him reasons. And he stepped
he
down.
Understood and he stepped down. So that is leadership for me. It's not suppression. Because, yes, people will have ambition, but you cannot make 5 people governors at the same time in the same state. It has to be one person. And the rule says if there is reason for you not to have consensus, you go to primaries. And if you can actually tell everyone to step down for one person, then it is fine. Even after all of that was said, they still have to go to the field to make sure that all doubts were put to rest, that INEC will be sure that there was no rancor whatsoever. We have a result that we went to primaries, and then even before then, we had consensus. So that is leadership. That is lacking in many of the states in Nigeria, especially in other camps. In the PDP, in the ADC, there's no rallying points. You can imagine in Oyo State, for example, in the ADC, there are 2 different primaries, and even one person contested for the primaries in 2 different factions. He was here today, the next day was somewhere else contesting for primaries. He doesn't even know where to belong. They might just let some people, go gaga when it comes to deciding what they want to do with their political careers. And this is political suicide being committed by style, by some of these political parties. 2027 might be the end of some political parties in Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, once the election is lost, they might just do a Zamfara. Yes, you have all the noise. You win some seats. But when INEC comes back and says we don't recognize them because they do not belong to the faction that the law recognizes, what will be the faith? Because in Zamfara, the APC won everything. And at the end of the day, the court said, because you had issues with your primary elections, it will be so person that comes in. So APC was totally wiped out of the whole system. And then PDP took over. So it's something that we really need to look at holistically. Especially
and the same PDP candidate defected to APC.
Imagine. So these things do happen. So you really have to be careful. This is political suicide by style, and they really have to be careful what they do right now. Put their houses in order. You might not really win the presidential election, and if you do win, fine. But what is the benefit of winning an election and then you get kicked out of office for no reason, because you could not put your house in order? Because there is no way INEC is declaring you if there is a crisis within your political party prior to the election. Exactly. You have to fix that.
And this one is even to the ADC, because I think I saw a video a few days back, Dino Melai, he was very vocal about, ADC is coming to kick out, President Bola. I saw a video of him, he was talking about his real estate, he was showing. In America, man has moved on. He has moved on to his business. And then he's not even the only one. Other people who are seeing they are there, but they have left. Their spirit has left. Because of the rancor that is going on. I mean, they cannot. So if ADC cannot actually, and if you look at it, the big shots are not even, they are unable to develop that interest. They are losing the interest already, and that's why quite a number of other persons left. And if care is not taken, people will still leave, the ADC, because and then I think these direct primaries that the Electoral Act has introduced to us, it has in a way revealed certain things that we are not even aware of before now, because primaries was not this odd, it was not this intense in Nigeria.
It was always delegates.
Exactly.
Right? Even before the primaries, if you are contesting, you would know you will lose. lose, because you
You
know how
know.
many leaders are on your side, because it will be the leaders of the
Except
party that
for
will be
Wike
delegates.
in the last primary for PDP. He said he found a way to actually talk to some of these delegates and he thought he was going to win, but surprisingly, he was shocked when he lost because Atiku won the primaries.
That's how elections are for
Right.
you, and it's a convenient point to leave that particular one this morning. Let's take weather report on the show, and let's help you navigate your way around the city of Ibadan and so many other places in Nigeria today. And we'll be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. What does the weather look like in Ibadan? As we speak, it is currently mostly cloudy in Ibadan at 24 degrees Celsius, and it will rise by 4 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius later in the morning. It will be partly cloudy and humidity will be at 8%. There is a promise of scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon, with weather rising to 31 degrees Celsius. Humidity will be as high as 54%. That's whooping. And there's a chance of rainfall in the afternoon in Ibadan. And later in the evening, it drops to 26 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy. Humidity drops to 3%, while overnight drops